guys, so today we're in Buckley Homestead, and it's in Lowell, Indiana, and it's a home of a World War II reenactment. We're going to run around the park here today. We're going to check out some of the stuff that's going on. We're going to have people running around in period clothing, uniform, stuff like that, and carrying some period weapons. Now, the guns that we're looking at here are deactivated. They fire blanks. I was just checking out this 50 caliber machine gun, and it appears to be set up to fire propane, so it sounds as though it's firing real live ammo, but it's not. So anyway, we're going to run around the park today, check out some of the stuff to see, talk to some of the actors, and get an idea of what some of these weapons were really like.
I don't have it all hooked up. What we have here is we have an oxygen and propane mix, and what we have it is we have it mixed in within the chamber here, and what happens is back in here we have a battery system that's connected to a spark plug inside. So basically, just the propane and the oxygen mix, and we just ignite it, creating a small explosion, making it sound like gunfire. And then I believe we have a regulator with it, so we can adjust how fast we want to shoot, how slow we want to shoot, and how loud we want it to shoot.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Huh, that's awesome. That was the honor guard firing and practicing. That's with M1 Garand blank guns. So these guys really take their reenacting pretty seriously. As you can see, here's some of the gear that these guys have. You know, we got helmets, they have entrenching tools, backpack here, bayonet. They go so far as to actually have these, K-ration crates that are, replicas of the originals. And so this encampment looks pretty period and authentic. It's pretty impressive, the detail that these guys go to in their reenacting. So we're taking a look at the 75mm M20 recoilless rifle. This was used to knock out German armor. And by recoilless, that means that this round that we see here, when it's fired, pellet gases are vented out the rear, and there's really very little recoil, so it can fire from this rather light tripod mount. It was pretty effective in knocking out German armor, far more so than the 3.5-inch bazooka that was portable by one person. This required a crew of several people to transport, load, and fire the weapon. It is a crew-served weapon. So we're here with George talking a little bit about this German Tiger tank. So George, can you tell us just a little bit about the tank?
Yes, it's the Tiger tank that was used in the movie Saving Private Ryan, also in Band of Brothers, Michael Whitman's story. There was a little deal on the Weather Channel called When Weather Changed History. It was also in that. A couple other programs that slipped my mind. There's been so many. What this tank is it's actually a Russian T-34 tank that's underneath a mock-up Tiger chassis. The reason being for this is that there's only a few existing Tigers in the world. Only one in country. It's a Tiger II, and it's at the Patton Museum at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And when Tom Hanks and Spielberg decided to do Private Ryan, the Patton Museum wasn't going to give them their Tiger II to play with. So
I can understand that.
They had to, scour the countryside and find an appropriate candidate for it, and there wasn't any. So they had to go over to England, where they procured several T-34s and had their shop convert them into what you see here.
So would you say it's an accurate representation of the tank?
It's about as close as you're going to get as far as a mock-up is concerned. It's probably a couple inches shorter than a real Tiger and about maybe 2 feet narrower than an actual Tiger.
Wow.
The track width, of course, if you've ever seen any documentaries, the tracks on a Tiger are enormous. You would probably have to take both of these off, put them on one side, maybe add a few inches to equal the actual length of a real Tiger's track. So,
and this thing's big. I mean, a real Tiger's even bigger.
A real Tiger's bigger, and a Tiger II is even bigger yet.
Wow.
So,
no wonder our tanks had such a hard time against these things.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's why whenever these came up on the battlefield, the Allies pretty much kind of got out of Dodge and called in the air support, because that's what was needed to knock these things
like
off.
an M5 against that would just be...
It'd be a joke. It wasn't even Sherman's. I mean, you've heard the stories about rounds bouncing off of these things.
Right.
It was very true. You know, when you're dealing with armor this thick and everything else, you know, it was a bad time for the Allies to go tank on tank against these things. So, you know, luckily they had a lot of airplanes.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it took care of that real quick.
Well,
so
very cool. Well, thank you, George.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.
These guys even have authentic food, as you can see here. Got the German crew back here cooking up some lunch. So over here we have BAR sitting on the mat. That's what the Allied forces used as a squad automatic weapon. It's a 30-06, fires from an open bolt, very slow rate of fire, fired from a 20-round detachable box magazine. Another one of John Browning's genius inventions.
Yeah, it's was the one you're showing before. No, those are. Oh. Boyer home?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a little bit smaller now. Yeah. One of those German repros?
Yep. I thought they weren't important though.
They did.
They only imported, actually, they only made 200 and they only imported 150.
Yeah. It was just one of 200. And it plays up.
The attention to detail and some of the stuff that these guys do is just absolutely amazing. We're in a German encampment right now. And here's the radio gear, and they even have a German song being played as if it's coming over broadcast radio. Really neat stuff.
Yeah, and I can see where that would be a problem.
Well guys, here it is. This is the German MG42. This rifle, or machine gun, light machine gun, really was a trendsetter. What this weapon accomplished was pretty much defining what the role of a light machine gun would be all the way up to present times. It made use of stampings versus machining, which was popular back in the 30s and 40s when this weapon was designed. It makes extensive use of stampings, has a quick change barrel, fires from a non-disintegrating link, and it does fire a full-powered 8mm cartridge. And here it's mounted on a tripod, which these legs are infinitely adjustable, it seems. You can really lower it to the ground, or you can raise it up. It's a very well-engineered weapon. Our own M60 was actually developed because of this weapon, captured weapons after World War II. It borrows pretty heavily from the principles of this firearm. I'm sitting in front of a little light German scout car, and just taking a look at this thing, it's kind of funny. The Volkswagen thing, and that was the actual model name, was a car that Volkswagen sold. They actually started producing it, I believe, in 1969, and this has more than a passing resemblance to that vehicle that was sold on the commercial market. So we're in the German camp, and they're getting ready to go into battle just right over behind the camera here. They're getting staged here, they're having their briefing, and then they're going to actually go into the battle area over here and engage Allied forces. So we're just kind of watching them get prepared.
They're going to come up and, along the side of the road, and they're going to deploy their gun off to the left. They're going to be on the left side of the field. If you guys could come up as a follow force along the tree line, as a follow force, your fighting is going to take place.
Now you're going to hear some real noise.
It's my understanding that the Americans got into World War II primarily to help our allies, British, right?
America always has the rule that they say we will not fire unless fired upon. So when England asks for help, they says we will not do that. The Germans have done nothing to us, the enemies, before the Japanese joined in. So the Americans said, what we will do is we will loan you the gear. We'll loan you everything you need, and we'll pay it back in forms of maybe labor or payment later on in the war. Right. So they came with the Lend-Lease. With the Lend-Lease, they got the Thompson machine guns. They got, I mean, after Dunkirk, England left everything on the beaches just to get this. They got over 300,000 soldiers, French, British, Polish, and they got them all back over to England's safety. I mean, you got to think there was also guys that owned fishing trawlers,
right?
That brought people back.
That would have been the end of the war.
Unless Americans came in, because England was, I think they said it was down about £4 million. Back then, to this day, maybe it might be 4 billion, pounds.
Right.
But 4 million pounds is not a lot then, and they were getting ready to go bankrupt. So when America stepped in and they said, we will help you, they give them the jeeps, they give them the armor, they give them the Thompson machine guns, M1 carbines. You can see the 45 pistol. They also clothing. They also made the British clothing for them. There's some American stamps on the British clothing. So everything went great. But then, of course, when Japanese hit Pearl Harbor and the war broke out with that, then England was the stop-off. It was the most natural stop-off for Germany.
Right.
So they could head on to Germany, and they could also get around Europe from there.
Now, since we were kind of coming to help the British in their fight against the Germans, I have a question for you guys. The Americans are in a fight over there right now, and you guys are sitting over here talking with me.
Well, it's tea time.
We don't fight during tea time.
We told them, we said after 2, but it's like, sorry.
The Americans don't understand that.
We always tell them, well, you haven't tried my tea.
Well, that's it, guys. That's the end of the Lowell show for us, the World War II reenactment. Overall, it's a pretty fun day. I mean, it's a great way to get out and hang out with some people like-minded, obviously enjoy firearms. And the best part of the whole show is the history of the event. Getting to see old weapons, old vehicles, walk around, talk to people. There's even a veterans tent over there that's usually pretty busy, but there'll actually be World War II veterans there that you can talk to that speak about some of their experiences during the war. These World War II reenactments take place all over the United States. You ought to get online, Google it, see if you can find a World War II reenactment somewhere in your area. I suggest you go by and check them out. If it's anything like this Lowell event that we come to every year, I think you'll really enjoy it. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Check us out on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/military arms. And thanks again for watching.